I accept her humanity, but she don't accept mine. And so I kind of looked around the room to see, like, and when I paid attention, every man was nodding their head.
One of the most effective ways to ruin your relationship, ruin a man, is to be ungrateful. Subscribe. Let's talk about it.
Therapist as an authority, I had to fight back tears because unanimously across the board, all the men in that focus group, one gentleman said his biggest challenge with being with a woman is how ungrateful women are. And I thought that was his unique experience for a moment, because he gave an example, like, you know, if my girl is too tired to cook dinner one day, I'm like, okay, cool, no problem. But if I forget to take out the trash, it's a big issue. I accept her humanity, but she don't accept mine. And so I kind of looked around the room to see, like, and when I paid attention, every man was nodding their head. So I asked the room, like, does that resonate? And they were like, yeah, I don't feel appreciated. I don't know what that even feels like. And that grieved my soul, because I'm like, oh my gosh. Like, I don't think women realize that what our complaints and it does to a man who is in love. You know, as a soul.
One of the things I'll push back on there, right? And she said a lot of great stuff in there, is we, as men, we think you do realize. I think you realize how effective of a weapon that is when you complain, when you nag, and get the reasons behind. It's always said, because why should I have to tell you more than once? Why should I have to constantly follow up with something like this? Well, when you ask her something, we'll just use a trash example. It's always, or it's when you want it done. Not that it needs to be done, that it's your timeline. If it's not done in the way you envision, then somehow it's somehow wrong. So the complaints and the nags become the next way to sort of poke and prod into get someone in line. But this is how you really deal with a child. This is how you deal with a toddler. This is how you deal with someone you're instructing, not someone that you purport to love, that you purport to build a life together with. One of the things that men are saying, this is why men also saying, you know what this is, because we don't see this before we're in an over leveraged position, before the ring is there, before the set. We don't see any of this sort of behavior. You're not nagging, you're not complaining about things like this. It's only after this marriage has became official, it's under the state, and now when we're locked in together, when it's going to be like ripping off a part of your skin in order to separate, is then we see this sort of thing, the nagging, the complaining, the ungratefulness. The way we got here wasn't by you demonstrating how ungrateful you were. That we got here by showing you poured into him, you supported his dreams, you loved and you cherished what he was doing, what you guys were creating together. But once the incentive for good behavior, and this is how a lot of men look at it, the incentive for good behavior is gone. There's nothing left. The race has been won. Now, what do we see? This is why we think this is how you are naturally. And one of the issues that men always talk about is, again, where was this before? Where was any of this before? If you would have demonstrated this ungratefulness, fine, cool, whatever. Be who you are, but leave me alone. I'm not going to sign up for this. What one of those men in the group said, right? We're going to focus on this, is we allow her to be human. We allow her to be fallible. When something goes wrong, it's not against her character. You failed to cook, you failed to do whatever role we decided in this relationship, right? Don't get caught on the cooking part. Whatever thing you decided, this is what you're supposed to do, this is what I'm supposed to do. You don't feel like doing it? Okay. No heat, no judgment. Okay, you don't feel like doing that tonight. Cool. You do so well, you do it all the other times. You don't have to do it every single time, nor do you have to do it on my schedule, my time. Yes, the different times when we're talking about this, when he's working 16-hour days and she's staying at home. Yeah, okay. Now it's time to step up and do these things, because he can't shirk his duties. You get to shirk yours, and you get to still remain that loving, caring spouse. If we fail to do these things, now it's something against our character, against our being, against who we are as a man, attack on the masculinity. So what happens? We don't lash out at you, because we, as men, also know that anytime there's something wrong, we bring something to your attention, it's because blah, 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 insert whatever reason. There is some sort of precipitating incident that caused you to be like this, which absolves you of the sin, absolves you of the wrong. So I'm only like this because you did this, you said this. That's why I don't do this. That's why I do this now. Nothing can really land on you and stick and say, hey, this is an error with you. This is what's wrong here. This is what's not conducive to this a healthy relationship. If at the end of the day, it's always going to land on me, then why am I going to bring anything to you? I'm simply going to find a way to solve it. But more realistically, I'm going to find a way to live with it. I'm going to find a way just to be like, okay, all right, cool. Let me deal with this. Let me somehow fix it. Let me bend. Let me go around this problem instead of sitting here and saying, okay, this is no good for me. This is no good for me. What you're seeing now, more men are just saying, well, why am I stepping into this relationship in the first place? Why am I stepping into something like this in the first place? If this is the way it's going to go, and it always seems to go this way, why bother? Listen, before we continue, like, comment, subscribe, hit that notification bell so don't miss no uploads. Don't miss those random lives that sometimes drop during the week. Don't miss the lives that we try to do every Sunday. Besides that, hype the video, share the video. We got some merch in the store. Now, what she said, with the focus of this, we want to keep it on the whole thing about the humanity aspect. You're allowed to not feel like. You're allowed to shirk some things, some duty, some bit of responsibility here and there. And there's no character assassination. There's nothing wrong with you. When we look at this and we say across the board, the minute we created spaces where men could actually have their opinion and voice these things, what she's giving you is a look behind the scenes in this little group for men. But men have felt like this all the time. I felt like this, much of the time. So what happens? What do men do? They just end up retreating. They get quiet about it. If it's going to be ineffectual, right? We want to have a result. We want to say, this is a problem. Let me seek the result. Let me seek the result that's going to fix this. So we know you're not part of the solution. Can't talk to you about it. We've demonstrated that because an unwillingness to actually sit there and actively listen. You're ready. You got your retort. You got your rebuttal. It's ready to go. It's locked and loaded. So the minute I bring something up, it's no good. Even when I bring it up, when we're having discussion, you say, hey, I'm upset about this. Cool. Right. I listened to that. Now I want to add to this conversation now that the air has been cleared, or we have created this space where we can talk about what's been bothering us in the relationship. Even that is challenged and said, why do you want to talk about it once I brought something up? Why does it matter if we're in this relationship together to fix something? Now, this is another tool to distract from what, hey, I've got a problem with this. Okay. So I can't talk to you when you bring something up. When we're having this discussion about, the pros and cons of this relationship, when we're discussing things that you're upset about, you want it to just be your focus. Okay. So when I say, hey, can we talk about something? Now you come defensively ready to tell me what was wrong with me. Okay, cool. Got it. So we don't talk about my issues. Cool. Let me now find a workaround. So when you come and you say, hey, I need you to do this. Okay. Right. But I'm human. I'm fallible. I'm going to mess up. I'm not going to do it the way you envision it. Okay. We can't talk about it. I can just be critiqued about it. This is slow death, this slow retreat, until you get to the point where a manager is saying either they're going to get the relief somewhere else, they're going to create these groups somewhere else, or they simply say, I'm not going to bring anything to you. That also means that there's a wall that's created, and it's not one of just simple responsibility. It's one of vulnerability. You don't get access to that anymore. You're not a trusted source anymore. You might as well be working for the enemy, but I'm just kind of sitting here and living with it. Now, this is where I would say that men go wrong. We sit there and we deal with it rather than saying, yo, cool, I'm out. cool, I'm out. This is where I say several times on the channel, we need to take a lot of the play, a lot of plays out of women's playbook. Sure, they'll blow up the entire family because they're not happy. And I'm not pulling this out my ass. This is several, female creators are putting videos out there. Hey, if divorce sounds like a possibility, you should take it. That thought didn't come from anywhere. Cool, fine. Man, when you get this inkling of this is where it's going, you sit down, you try to have that conversation, you see if it goes anywhere I listed before. Cool, you already know what to do. You know this is not going to get better. Putting a ring on it is not going to make it better. Putting a baby, have you guys having a baby is not going to make any of this better. It never does. It just puts you in an over-leveraged position. That's why today when women say they're done with dating, when they say they don't want to get married, men are looking at it and say, why? Okay, I agree with you. I didn't want to do those things anyway. Why was I going to put myself in a financially over leveraged position where now when I bring anything to your attention, here's an attitude, here's the reason why it's wrong. All right, cool. So we're in agreement, right? We're not on separate pages here. If we can't see this appreciation early on and have that locked in, the minute we see that disrespect, I gotta leave. If we could put that in a prenup, hey, or if we could put that into just law itself, then I think we'd be in a better position. But outside of that, we need to be able to, we should be vetting people that can actually have these proper conversations, that take accountability when something is brought to their attention, and not this accountability that takes you 3, 4, 5 days to turn around and say, oh crap, you were right. Because for those 3 or 4 or 5 days, that cement is solidified. Now, in order for me to deal with whatever happened in that meantime, that wall that I started building up, I got to chip away at that. And in order for me to properly chip away at that, I got to watch your reactions. I got to watch how you demonstrate a solution to what I brought up. Not only do I have to wait for a demonstration of that solution I brought up, that I can actually bring something to you without it now, you being defensive for a week. This is a lot of emotional work that men do that never really gets talked about, never really gets highlighted, because it goes kind of against the narrative. Listen, I could be wrong. You know, I've been wrong before. If you disagree, let me know down in the comments below. Or if you agree, also let me know in the comments below. If you see other videos on your screen, check those out. Let me know your thoughts about those in those videos. And of course, if you listen to my voice now, you have not subscribed, I think you should. Just trying to build something dope. I'll see you in the next one.